Yes, yes, yes. It is the Castworthy podcast. Back here with another episode. I am Big Steve, aka Last of a Dying Breed. Joined this evening with EJ the Savage and the VP of Research. Gentlemen,
What up?
how goes it?
What up, though?
What's happening?
What's hanging? What's happening?
What's hanging? What's happening?
Couldn't decide.
Is that a Miami thing or a Haiti thing?
Gotta be both.
Couldn't decide. Didn't know which direction I wanted to go.
Just a little smidge.
Getting a little toxic early
Already, right? Telling us you don't know. He's about to trip out the closet. It is Wednesday, October 16th.
11 o'clock.
It's not 11, it's 10 o'clock. Where are we? We're back. So, gentlemen, how are things?
Oh,
good. I'm glad you guys are with me today.
Yeah.
Perhaps I should start this thing all over. Yes. Here we are back.
don't make that face again.
Yeah. Hanging in there. When I went to the movies this weekend, I saw Gemini Man, the Will Smith joint.
Okay.
And you ain't go see Joker?
Of course he didn't. He figured since he was a no call, no show on on the Joker body.
Whose man's is this, yo?
I know.
Yo, everybody says go see Joker. This dude goes sees Gemini Man with low ass box opening numbers. Like, I'm gonna be the difference.
Well, they kind of the box office, I think, is just a victim of when it came out.
It's a victim of Marvel.
It's week two of Joker. Addams Family just dropped, So
week 2 of Joker.
But I mean,
you say Addams Family?
Yeah, that was the number 2 movie after Joker.
I'm not doing it with him today. Not today.
I mean, I didn't see it. I haven't heard anything good about it, but it's an animated kids movie.
He contemplated it.
It was gonna do numbers. So you got the second week of a comic book movie plus a new animated kids movie. It was no way Gemini Man was gonna do numbers over those two.
Okay, all right. Making excuses for Will Smith.
No, I'm not making it. The movie. Here's the thing with that movie, right? The movie itself was okay, right? Will Smith he's had a string of shit movies over the last 5, 6, 7 years, however long, right? And part of the problem with this movie is that it shot itself in the foot, right? So when you go and if you see it, they spend like the first, I would say, like 40, 45 minutes, right? And it's all of this innuendo, like it's building up to the big reveal that the assassin coming after Will Smith is a younger version of himself, right? If you saw the goddamn commercial or the poster,
you already know it's him.
Yeah. So then it was like, what was the point of all this buildup if I already know what's going to happen? Like, what percentage of people who saw this movie did they think never saw the commercial for it? Like that, what percentage of people they think went in blind? You know what I'm saying? So you build up this whole like big reveal, and then when the moment happens, there's nobody in the audience like, oh shit, everybody's kind of like, yeah, I saw the poster. You know what I'm saying? That's just like remember the first Predator with Arnold.
Yeah,
and when they're in the jungle and all of the army guys and shit, they're like, it's something out there. It's like, yeah, it's an alien. I saw the spaceship in the beginning of the movie. You know what I'm saying? They build up all this suspense of there's something out there. And then when you finally reveal it's an alien, it's like, yeah, I knew that already.
I just got one question. Why in the fuck would you go see that if we said go see the Joker?
So here's why. One, I wanted to see the movie. Two, you said to go see Joker, but then you motherfuckers potted about it on Saturday, so I didn't feel like it was relevant work for the podcast.
Oh, now he's trying to get his research credit up. Get the hell out of here.
He's trying to get us to write off his movie tickets and shit.
You know, I think I was
there.
gonna get my shit validated. You know,
see what you did there.
Oh man,
Nice.
Must be Yom Kippur or something because he's in his Jew bag today.
Wow.
Oh, I can't believe you said that. Shit. All right. Haven't even said where we can be found. It's scrolling across the bottom. If you're watching the video, check us out on YouTube. Building the channel up right now. You know, you get to see all the funny faces that EJ makes as we talk. Just search Castworthy Podcast on YouTube. You can search Castworthy on Facebook, on Instagram. We are at Castworthy_podcast. On Twitter, we're Castworthy Podcast. So you search Castworthy and you'll find us for the most part at this point. For the listening content, if you are not interested in the video and seeing these dashingly handsome faces of mine, you can listen to us on Spotify, Spreaker, YouTube. Well, YouTube is video. Spotify, Spreaker, Apple, Google Play Music. What else, EJ?
iHeartRadio. Did you say Spreaker?
Yep. I got that. Yeah, listen to us, man.
Maybe you got it this time.
We got shit for you. So, man, it's midweek. It's hump day. Yep. I took my dog to the vet today before I went to work, and he's got a skin infection or whatever. But I'm sure you guys are like, we didn't talk about this in pre-recording. Why are you bringing this up? It just popped in my head that it was a new vet because the old vet couldn't, figure out what was going on. Anyhow, the first impression that my dog made on this lady must have been good because she was kissing him on the mouth. Yeah. Now, mind you, my dog has come in and I told her he's chewing his feet. He's chewing his feet. He's been chewing. He's been itchy, so he's chewing on, like his balls and shit. And first she's like, "Oh, hey, Gunner, jump on." Like, I'm sitting there in the corner, like,
was she?
Yes.
black?
Before you ask, no,
You just have to be sensitive to the cultures and ask.
Her scrubs weren't even black.
That's nasty.
Was she married? Was she old?
I don't go into establishments asking young ladies if they're married, EJ.
Was she a young lady? Was she a young lady?
Not really young. Maybe like 35, 40.
Damn, 35, 40 is not young?
So our age. Well, I'm thinking when EJ is saying young, because a lot of times you go to these.
You're thinking you're foul college ones. Young to you is college heads out here at USF walking the strip there, but that's another topic.
All I'm saying, so when you walk in, usually the volunteers and the desk girls are the young ones. They're like early 20s, etc. So that's why in comparison to them, no, she's not.
What's the young lady? What's the young lady's name at the desk?
I don't know. Calling
Just
that.
checking. Just checking.
It's a new vet. You can try to dry snitch on me real quick.
Kobe.
Takashi ass dude. So yeah, Wednesday hump day. Debate was last night. I was bowling. EJ was probably phone boning with his new love interest. VP, you had a chance.
Yeah.
VP,
Pretty accurate, bro.
You had an opportunity to watch. I know that, right?
Yeah, I watched it.
So give us something. I heard
Well,
Biden wasn't, and they asked about his son, and he didn't do great. So
the first thing I would say about the debate is that it was too goddamn long. It was 3 hours, and part of the reason it has to be that long is because even though the field has gone down some, you still had 12 people on the stage, so they needed more time to be able to try to get all the candidates in there. Biden, even though Biden's not somebody I'm looking at as a candidate, I'm being pulled more and more to EJ's side on Biden, where he doesn't look ready for prime time. He's definitely lost some speed off of his fastball. The one question that he had to know was coming was the question regarding his son, and the answer that he gave was terrible, 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 terrible. Overall, the debate, did it change anything? I would say no. I don't think anybody's numbers moved up or down that much beyond the margins. I think the race is still kind of frozen in place. And once some more candidates either drop out or not qualify for the next debate, and then we can get that stage shrunken down some more to maybe 5, 6, maybe 7 candidates on stage really getting into the issues. I think that's when you'll really start seeing some movements. There are people who have strong moments, but overall, I don't think the debate last night really changed anything. And one final thing I'll say on the debate before you guys get in there is that I think the moderators of the debate are doing a terrible job, and I think the candidates are also doing a terrible job by not changing the subject. And what I mean by that is that at least in the Democratic Party, climate change is a really big issue. And last night there was no conversation of climate change, and the candidates didn't bring it up. But we got a question on the uproar regarding Ellen DeGeneres sitting next to George W. Bush at the Cowboys Packers game a week ago, and I'm like, why the fuck is this national? Why does this need to be covered in a presidential debate when people are talking about not having a place to live and the climate not allowing us to grow food and climate refugees, et cetera, and we're talking about the uproar over Ellen DeGeneres sitting next to George Bush? Like, let's talk about the important shit.
yeah.
No, I mean, listen, I've always got the debate, that Steve was making, that Joe Biden off popularity, could garner a lot of votes. I also got the notion that, okay, he should pick Abrams to be the VP, and that'll be great. That'll cover all of his flaws and insecurities, or not insecurities, but flaws and deficiencies. The problem is, man, Joe is old, and it is really showing. And Abrams as a VP choice has so many strikes against her, which Steve has openly talked about, and this is not our belief. This is the country. This is what the country has shown. 2 times with Hillary in Abrams' own state, that they rather a racist white man win than a woman. And then 2, she's a black woman, who was high powered, who was highly outspoken, and quite frankly couldn't win her state, for reasons maybe not of her own, without the forces of darkness or whatever you want to add in there. But it's like, Biden is not fit, man, and I would hate to see him toe to toe versus Trump. And I mean, we bash Trump here, on every second. The reality is, as much of a jerk Trump is, as much of a racist he is, he has a way about getting in the debate circle, bullying his opponents, appealing to his base, bullying the moderator, doing all of these things. It would be, to me, and I've said this before, at Biden's current state, and maybe we never really knew outside of the first go round because he didn't really have to do much. But I mean, he's 70, he's the same age as Bernie. I think Bernie may be older, but he's clearly not where he needs to be mentally. And I just, for one, would hate to see him spar toe to toe with Trump. He's dropped the ball on alley-oops before, and it's just nasty, man. But the other thing to take away from this too, the sad, harsh reality is the Democratic Party is not really producing anyone not named Warren or Sanders that is formidable enough against Trump. And even in the midst of that, we really don't know what these people are really going to be able to do for the nation. As you said, global warming didn't come up. They're so enamored right now with beating one another. How do we really get to anything? And I mean, I think it's par for the course right now, but it's not doing us any favors. It's just not doing us any national favors. And Trump, just last week or 2 weeks ago, we were talking about potential impeachment. And now this guy's just saying and doing whatever the fuck he wants. I mean, he is truly the Teflon Don of presidents right now. And, I don't know what it's going to take to get this guy down. I'm really apathetic.
I think Trump gets impeached, but to address some of the stuff there, right, that you say, I still stand by personally thinking that again, Joe Biden is going to appeal to enough people or more people than the others. Partially now also because of what you said. These guys, I understand they want to win the nod, right? But you're not doing, like you said, you're not doing any favors by pulling my dirty laundry out, right? You pulling my dirty, we're all of us are against El Scumbago number one, right? I mean, the ultimate goal is to get Trump out of the White House. If you're a supporter of the Democratic Party, right?
Supporter of the free world.
I think if you're, I mean, realistically, think about other countries hate them, just the same. But I think that's the biggest thing, right? And so them not pulling punches against one another and kind of getting real dirty and nasty, fighting dirty is kind of fucked up. It's kind of like, think about family. You get into a fight with, like, if I fight you, EJ, we're cousins. I'm probably not gonna, like, I wouldn't hit you with a brick. You know what I mean? Like if I fought a stranger, because I wouldn't be out to do major damage to you, because I understand that you wouldn't want to, harm me at a level that that someone that doesn't know me would, right? And I think, from a Democratic standpoint, listening to the first two debates and kind of just reading a couple of things, they're hurting themselves. With Biden though, again, I still stand by him. Bernie's an old man, just the same.
He had a heart attack.
Genius. Yeah, he just had a heart attack.
Yeah, and then this guy is not only that, but he's just so abrasive. Like, dude is abrasive, and the climate that our society is in, you can't be like that. Like, our society is pussy, for lack of a better word. Think about the Joker movie. Like after,
I said that wasn't PC at all, but
I don't care. Like watching the Joker movie, I understand some of the stuff people were saying about it. And VP, I think you need to see it, so that you can kind of relate and shed some light personally. But I don't think it warranted pulling it out of theaters. Correct me if I'm wrong, EJ. I understand that there was some violence and the wrong person could potentially take what they saw and turn it into a mass shooting or turn it into a riot or turn it into whatever, right? Something negative. But I think that can happen in any movie, right? Any movie that has violence in it. You know, somebody that has, someone in their right mind is not going to watch that movie and make that type of connection where it's like, all right, I got to go shoot some shit up in the name of mental illness, right? Someone that does that is ideally going to be mentally ill. And so if they are mentally ill, any other movie with violence would have this, to me, I think would have or could have the same impact. So, just seeing something like that. I mean, think about what was the movie, the cartoon movie where they were making fun of a kid because they had food allergy or some shit like that. And
Powder or something? I don't remember.
well, there was.
remember
I have to look it up. I can't remember. I have to think about it.
food allergy. I just remember Powder. I don't know why Powder jumped into my head. Remember that movie Powder?
Yeah, there was a cartoon movie last year that came out.
Oh, a cartoon movie.
Damn, animated movie, and they made fun of a character in the movie because they had a food allergy and they had an allergic reaction. And it was all over the news. Like people were like, "Oh, that's so unfair, bullying, yada yada yada. How could they teach that to kids?" Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like that's the climate we're in, and that's, to me, that's why I think Bernie, he's a problem for us, man. If he was to get the nod, he's going to be a problem even to Democrats. I know they would want him out, but I still think, some people are just pussy.
No.
Right? So, what do you think, EJ?
I mean, I mean, yeah, I mean, I think Bernie appeals more to left wing people who obviously see a benefit in getting relief for college debt, other progressive things. His abrasiveness is his passion. I think he captures the young vote, the young liberal vote. Do I think it really matters in that instance? How society sees him? I don't know, because 50% of white women didn't care that Donald Trump said he's gonna grab him by the pussy. So I mean, some of them might like that. I just let's just be real. There's a clear racial issue in this country, as it has been for centuries, um, or since the beginning of this country, rather, 2 centuries and some change. Um, there's a problem. The haves and the have-nots are the haves are comfortable in having all that they have, and they will do anything to protect it. Donald Trump personifies that. Somebody like Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders are challenging that. Joe, another reason why Joe is having a knock against him is his fundraising and all of those connections. So I just I don't think I don't think Joe is just fit. I just don't want to see him going up there and getting torn apart by Trump. That would completely tip the scales and kill everything. On the other hand, who do we have? Bernie's gonna yell. I mean, just had a fucking heart attack. Elizabeth Warren.
Never mind.
Elizabeth Warren has, unfortunately, due to the nature of the voting whites in this country, and we can say that with data, that 50% of white women didn't even vote for Hillary Clinton, who was a white woman. Maybe not solely because she's a white woman, maybe because a lot of people think Hillary was trash, I being among them. But we can't even count on the gender being in her favor. Let's say that. And we know white men are not going to vote for a white woman. Other than that, we don't have anything else in the field. I don't know how we got this bad. But I did see something the other day in VP. If you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I saw something in a poll that said like 50% or more people would vote for Michelle Obama if she ran for president.
Yeah, I saw something like that recently. Michelle Obama is one of the most popular Democrats in the country. But also, the thing with Michelle, even though I like her a lot, she's super popular. Michelle is kind of popular in the way that the backup quarterback is popular on a team that's not doing well, right? So why don't we put in so and so? This guy's fucking up, And once, right, and once she actually gets in the game, I think her popularity would end up going down because now she's going to be introducing policy. And with any policy, there's going to be some winners and some losers. And depending on how it's spun in the media and things like that, you can have people who are like, fuck that. I mean, I liked her when she was doing push-ups on Ellen, and now she's talking about my healthcare. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's not as easy to say, oh, put in somebody like Michelle or put in Oprah or whatever. Yeah. The problem with Biden too is it's a mental thing, right? Because there's nothing wrong with being older. Like, he's a seasoned politician. He got elected at 29 back in the 70s to the Senate. And he has a bunch of experience. He knows a bunch of world leaders. He knows a bunch about the world itself, which is part of the reason Obama picked him as his VP nominee, because Obama was so young and green. And you had somebody like Joe Biden, who was considered to be an expert in foreign policy. And during that time, you had Iraq and Afghanistan and the economy and all the stuff like that. And Obama thought, I can let Biden handle a lot of foreign policy shit while I'm working on fixing the economy. And it worked out good for them. But now Biden is 76. He turns 77 next month. If he were to get elected, when he's sworn into office, he'd be 78 years old. And he'd be the oldest person sworn in for a first term in the country's history. And he doesn't seem, I don't think there's a dementia thing or anything like that, but he's just older. So sometimes there's a lot of rambling. Sometimes there's searching for the word he's trying to use. And Bernie's older than Biden by either a year or a couple of months, but you don't get that from Bernie, even though I don't support him. Bill Maher said this thing about Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren is 70. She looks 50 and she acts 20, and you see her running up and down the steps at her campaign event when she's going up on stage. She stands in line in New York for 4 hours to take selfies with 4,000 different people, and this woman is 70 years old. And you listen to Biden and it's like they asked him a question about his son when in the debate. One of the first questions that came up, and literally in his answer, he started talking about George Washington. Now people gave him shit for that. The George Washington thing was kind of connected. He was talking about corruption, something that Washington said, but it was just a shitty answer, and that helps to make him look bad. So I don't think it's going to be Biden, even though he has a lot of black support. And I get your point, Steve. And if it is somebody, one of the white candidates, I think that they can make up for that with diversity on the ticket, where you have an African American. This year in the Democratic Party, regardless of who's number one, who's number two, there's going to be a person of color on the ticket, and there's going to be a woman on the ticket. I guarantee it.
And that's a problem. That's what I'm concerned with. We've talked about Elizabeth Warren. We've talked about I'm going to butcher his name, Buttigieg. It's all the same to me.
Boot edge is basically how it's pronounced.
His name ain't Johnson. Don't matter.
he goes by Mayor Pete.
Peter. Of course he does. But we've talked about America, right? And the concern that I have, and we have, right? We've worked in call centers for a long time, VP, and so you hear the ignorance. You listen to the calls. You do quality in a call center, so you hear the ignorance that we hear on a day-to-day basis. I mean, I have an agent on my team now that's Puerto Rican, from Puerto Rico, and I listen to his calls, and they're like, transfer me to America, and he's like, I'm in Orlando, and they're like, no, you're not, you're in India. He's like, no, I'm in Orlando, Florida, and that's right. So that's the ignorance that we hear. I've heard, females that I work with get talked down by men, talked down to by men that have called in, because the South, there's still, that ancient way that men are superior to women, and so that's yeah, and that's a concern that I have with like a Warren or a woman in general getting the nod. I think that's partially what caused Hillary to lose. I know we know Hillary got the she got the majority vote, but I'm sure there's areas like those backwoods, podunk areas that Trump made his way to anyway. If it was a white man, perhaps they would have thought about going the other way. Obviously, who knows, they're racist. But something you said also, EJ, earlier was Biden getting in the ring with Joe and getting eaten up, and his supporters.
You mean getting Trump ring with Trump?
I'm sorry. Yeah. Who did I say?
Joe. You said Biden getting in the ring with Joe.
Yeah, I'm sounding like him now. I'm getting old on. Biden getting in the ring with Donny T, and his supporters, watching him eat him up. A Trump supporter is a Trump supporter at this point. Like, I don't think there's any way to win a Trump supporter. There's nothing, right? Because if you support Trump based on what he's been saying and what he's been doing, the way he's been, running the country, I mean, maybe you're looking at the motherfuckers that stand up there like black people for Trump, or Spanish people for Trump, or Puerto Rican for Trump, like those people that carry those signs and shit. Maybe you win about 50 of them, but that's not going to be a significant, and I think the people that support him are the people that are okay with the racism, the people that are closet racist, the people that the CEOs, the doctors, the teachers, the bitch that we saw that was from California talking about, I hate niggers, on that video. You know what I mean? Like, these are the people that once the internet finds them and they come out, everyone's like, oh, there's no way. Who would have thought Susie was like that? You know what I mean? Those are Trump supporters. And I don't think him losing to Biden in, a debate or any other Democrat is going to change them to vote for a Democrat.
And I agree with you, Steve. Like, I if you're somebody who took a chance on Trump just because you didn't like Hillary, you wanted to change, whatever the reason, you took a chance on him. Okay, whatever. You didn't see, you didn't see what he was putting out there. Okay, cool. But if you took that chance and you still support him after everything that you've seen the last 2+ years, almost 3 years, then it's no getting that voter, right? The one thing that I would push back a little bit on, like if you talk about a Warren or any of the other women at the top of the ticket, is I think it's easy to say, Hillary was on the top of the ticket and she didn't get it. It had to be because she was a woman. Hillary was a very particular candidate who was very unpopular, right? And it was something like, I believe she was only, when the polling the week of the election, I think it was something like 34% of people said that Trump was honest and trustworthy, but only 36% of people thought that of Hillary. So she was a very particular candidate, and I think the same way, like you go back to 2008, if Obama loses, I think we're having this debate about whether or not a black person could be on the top of the ticket. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I think it's easy to get in that trap of just saying because Warren or Kamala or Klobuchar, because they're women, that they can't win because this happened to Hillary. You have to remember, Trump is president because of about 72,000 votes spread across 3 states, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. if those 72,000 votes go a different way, there's no Trump right now. You see what I'm saying? So the margins are that close. So I don't think that it's a apples to apples comparison of Hillary being a woman versus Warren.
It is, and I'm gonna tell you why. And I'm gonna go back to the other point that y'all said about the Trump supporters. But it is because we're not saying that she can't. There is a little bit of saying that she can't do it possibly because she's a woman, because the nation has shown that while in other instances your gender and your ethnicity can support you, 50% of the people that look like her didn't care about it. You know what I'm saying? So that's my thing. I'm not saying that it was the sole reason that she didn't get it. While that should have been an assistance to her, especially in that demographic, it clearly wasn't. You know what I mean? And I agree, because I even said, I mean, I wasn't a fan of Hillary because of Hillary. But going back to y'all point about Joe versus Trump in a debate, yeah, we know we can't win over staunch Trump supporters. But what about the people in the middle? What about the people that may be swinging? What about us as Democrats? Like, how bad would we be if we just watch Joe get his ass handed to him, and we then still just blindly support this guy that clearly can't hold his own? How much are we being true to really having the best candidate? You know, I know at that point in time, you know, it's all about, you know, Trump beating Trump or nothing. But at the same time, why are we sending this motherfucker in the battle when we know he's not prepared? I'm not gonna feel. While I'll still say let's do whatever we got to do to get rid of Donny T, I'm still gonna feel like it's an embarrassment to the whole purpose of everything to knowingly put somebody who is not mentally up to task. And VP, like, to be honest, he is showing some slight signs of potential deterioration mentally, you know. And I mean, maybe it's because we have the media on him, we don't know his day to day, but you know, that kind of stuff formulates and you don't even see it coming. You know, we don't know how much his family is hiding. We don't know what he's hiding. We don't know. You know, at this point, he could be one of those people, one of those old dogs dying with the ship. Like, you want to use the quarterback reference. He could be one of those quarterbacks that we know are washed, injury prone, you know, just torn down. I honestly, and I defend him. Normally, I can't even argue. He is looking like a guy like a Cam Newton who, you know, lost a step, injured, you know, mentally gone. You know, he might be one of those guys that's doing more harm than good. That's saying, "No, I can do this," and we like, look, bro, just bow out. Like, how much good does that really do for our cause in the long run when we know that's not the best product, and we know that might actually hurt us from winning? Because a Joe Biden going in there getting torn up, it doesn't help our odds. Sure, we're not going to have the Trump supporters. I get that, but it doesn't help our odds. It just doesn't. It does not look good. It just doesn't. You can't send them in there like that.
And I definitely you know, I definitely hear what you're saying, but I mean, at the end of the day, you know, he's not the guy yet, right? No voting has happened. It's just
right.
You know, we're looking at options at this point. While he's at the top in most of the polls, those are just polls, which is simply a snapshot in time, right? That's how people are feeling between October 5th and October 8th, right? You know what I'm saying? So, so we got to give it some time, you know. And Joe has shown in the past, this is his third time running for president. And the past two times, he didn't do well in Iowa and New Hampshire, and he bowed out. This time, he has a little bit more stature, being a former vice president versus just being some guy in the Senate. You know, maybe he hangs on a little bit longer, especially since the majority of his support is African American, and you really don't touch that African American vote until you hit the fourth contest, which is South Carolina. So he might hang on a little bit longer than he did in the past. But, you know, again, I don't think Joe's going to be the nominee. But you know, he's not there. Like I said earlier, he's definitely lost something off the fastball. And even though I don't necessarily think that debates kind of set the stage, because somebody giving a good answer on a policy in 45 seconds doesn't say how this person is going to be president, right? So, I don't really think that debates matter. Most of the polling shows Hillary Clinton won all 3 debates. She lost the election. You see what I'm saying? So, but, to see that on TV where it seems like he's getting his clock cleaned by Trump, I think that would hurt him and hurt the chances of getting Trump out. So, we'll see. But, voting doesn't start to January, so we got time.
Yeah. I think choosing by, debate win or loss is kind of like, the potential of getting a shitty candidate that interviews really well at a jump. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right. And vice versa. You might get a really good candidate that just doesn't interview well or doesn't do well with spotlight and camera on them. So
that's a great analogy.
It's hard to tell. Either way, I mean, obviously we know which way we're going. Like, shit, you could put fucking Roseanne up there, and she gets the nod. That's what I'm rolling with. It is what it is at this point.
Yeah.
But, so I know. I don't want to talk about it. Forget it. I don't feel like EJ's fucking mom. Let's just skip sports for the night. What'd you say, EJ? Huh?
This nigga's petty. He's petty. Oh shit.
He muted me.
This nigga's petty.
Wow. Unreal. Am I back now?
Yes, sir.
So this was a glorious Sunday. My 0-4 Jets went home to MetLife Stadium where Dak and them boys came to play. And you know what? Sam Darnold came back, spleen intact.
Kissing random.
Kissing dirty joints, no more. Using face condoms, he will.
Dental dam.
We got out early.
Dental
dam, he does. He got out early on the Cowboys. After all the shit Steve was talking, how bad the Jets are, how all of this shit.
Remember that
they are kind of bad,
and we pulled out a victory.
I don't remember saying that. First of all,
it was phenomenal.
I did expect the Cowboys to win.
You know what? I told you at the beginning of the year, in the last 3 years, we have had y'all number. And I think we're like 9-3 now, or maybe 10-3. I don't know what it was recently, but I mean, here's the thing. The Cowboys are a talented team. Are they coached the best? I don't know. Sam Darnold changes that Jets team obviously dramatically. I gotta be honest, I was never a Sam Darnold fan being drafted. I'm still waiting for him to truly prove that he's gonna be amazing.
I agree.
But he clearly showed that, he changed that offense. And, the Cowboys, where I thought they kind of went wrong, and, Steve will probably curse to the high heavens about this. We couldn't stop the run. We could not stop Zeke. That run game was killing us. And somehow they abandoned it. And, our defense is, while it's been doing good, I think a large part of it is Greg Williams. Other than Marcus May and Jamal Adams, our secondary changes every week. Our D-line is okay. We haven't had Mosley since fucking week 1. And I hated that Mike McCagnon signed him instead of re-signing Demario Davis and then drafting someone else for $8 million less. But it was a tough game. The Jets had momentum; they were at home. But I gotta say, man, the Dak slander, really pisses me off. This dude goes for 300 plus yards, I believe. If not this game, the game before at the very least. One takeaway, but it's like, yo, why is it that when a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, and yes, I know it's Aaron Rodgers, yes, I know that's the Tom Brady of the NFC, but when you got a guy like him or Phillip Rivers who played like shit on Sunday, um, you got these guys that play like shit, and everybody loves them. Granted, it's their body of work, good, but Dak, up until now, has been one of the best and most productive quarterbacks in the league. It's almost like Dak is being a victim of being a black quarterback and being a company man because he doesn't say anything.
It's not almost.
Yeah, because he doesn't say anything. He plays by the letter. He hasn't gotten paid, which we've said countless times on this podcast could affect his play. And then he's black. So it's just like, wow, I can't lie, man. I had a lot of Cowboys fans to talk shit to. I took the win. I loved the win. I wanted the win. I predicted the win. I feel bad for Dak overall. I feel bad for Dak. Amari Cooper did what I thought he would do, what I said he's always done in the past. When pressure's on, he fucking disappears, whether it's injury, whether it's something else, he disappears. He did that shit in Oakland. And, I would know I drafted him as a rookie in our fantasy league. I think he'll bounce back, but I feel bad as shit for Dak, man. And I think Jerry has to really do something either about getting rid of the coaching and then really getting a solid number one and number two receiver that he can count on to make things go forward. And you got Jason Witten, who's out here, just came back out the booth, still doing his thing, but there's no futuring there. And I just really think Jerry has to really do better this draft to get some young guns in there to really get Dak some fucking stability. But overall, Jets, I'll take that win. Miami still ain't got one. So I'm good.
Yeah. So lots of things took place, right?
That was rough.
Dak is in there playing without a left tackle and without a right tackle, right? Still found a way to make plays, to make throws, to, I think part of his issue at this point and part of the reason why we're losing these games, especially like the Jets game, which was close. And, we saw in that last drive or the last two drives where, they were coming back in the third and fourth quarter, he started to use his legs. And we talk about that all the time, right? When you have a Zeke out of the backfield, and Zeke is doing his thing, and then you split him out and you send him out with your receivers and you got man coverage, you should be able to run right up the middle and get 7 yards as a quarterback when you have his type of speed, possibly more, right? And if now you're making that 2nd and 3 or that 3rd and 3 instead of a 3rd and 10, because there was a bad throw, or 3rd and 13 because you got sacked, or 3rd and 15, whatever, it's a more makeable, first down, more makeable, first down. And the percentages are for you, right? On top of it, obviously you got Amari Cooper that was out. And Michael Gallup was the number one receiver. Actually, Tavon Austin had he had the best stats from a receiver standpoint, but Gallup was the number one guy 2 weeks removed from a knee surgery, right? From returning from a knee surgery. So, for them to get out there and on the first series, we go 3 and out without running the ball once, that's a problem, right? That's play call. So that's the Cowboys side of it. But on the Jets side of it, what people don't realize, including Miami fans and Patriot fans and Dolphins fans, the Jets defense is always good. It's been good for years, right? But they were an 0-4 Jets team with a third string quarterback, right? You got no production out of Robbie Anderson. You got no production out of Jamison Crowder. Demaryius Thomas came back last week and, had no production. He really didn't have anything. I mean, he did two passes this week, but
Darnold was there week 1.
Yeah.
And playing with mono in a game that we let the Bills come behind and beat us.
Yeah, we don't know if he had mono yet, but he was there.
No, he definitely played with mono.
But when you look at
he did. He had mono. He played that game.
EJ gave
he played that. No, he played that game sick, and nobody knew what was wrong with him. But yeah, I mean,
look, man, I can't. Tony Romo played with a ruptured spleen or some shit, So I don't want to hear that mono shit. He sucked.
Well, week 1, you see the difference in the team.
Face.
Wide receivers made catches, and then 2, 3, and 4 they disappeared because they had fucking. I don't even know the guy's name. Was it Flint or some shit? Like, huh?
Luke Falk.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody knows what the fuck he is. So it makes a difference. At the end of the day, the Cowboys were there. They should have won that game. That 2-point conversion at the end was just terrible fucking play call. Throughout the game, it was bad play call. The defense, was getting torched. Marcus Lawrence got paid, and he has disappeared completely this year. He hasn't done shit. He's not rushing the quarter. I mean, he's rushing the quarterback, but Robert Quinn is the one that's actually getting the sacks. He's the one that's making the difference on the other side. Maybe they're doubling down on him. Maybe they're putting, tight ends on that side. Whatever the case may be, you get paid a lot of fucking money. If Khalil Mack can do it, if fucking, these other guys can do it. Aaron Donald, these guys, obviously they're in another stratosphere, but shit, you got to make a play when it's needed. If you plan on, otherwise you'd be a fucking 10-6 team, make the playoffs and get bounced out first week because we got a shitty division. In the Eagles being terrible, the Giants and Washington just being, the pits.
So let me. I know we. I brought this up in chat in one of our talks about the Cowboys, and so I want to kind of put it on the podcast to get it out there publicly to get the thoughts on it. But I brought up the point about I had saw something that talked about like rich people, and a lot of folks think that the people who are rich or wealthy, they think that they got their wealth because of their smarts, their intelligence. Mm-hmm. It was no luck. There was no timing. There was no, stepping on somebody's neck to get ahead. It's all because of intelligence. And how much of that do you think may factor in to Jerry not wanting to fire Garrett? Because it's been 10, 11 years Garrett as coach, and there hasn't been any real success. And by real success, I don't mean like, oh shit, we made the playoffs. That's for the Dolphins. You know what I'm saying? That's for, I would even argue, like a team like the Jets or whatever. The way that the money that the Cowboys spend on players and personnel, facilities, etc., making the playoffs is not enough. I'm not saying they got to be like the Patriots and are winning, multiple Super Bowls. But, I mean, on paper, they look good, but they're not contending for championships, And at what point is Jerry going to let this dude go?
Yeah, I think so. I agree with you. I think part of it is Jerry being a rich, pompous son of a bitch. I mean, but the other side of it, and it's kind of proves it, is look how he treated Jimmy Johnson. And Jimmy Johnson brought three titles in 4 years. Sure, he didn't coach 1 year for him, but was still the team that he put together. Yeah. The way he treated this guy, Parcells came in and, he treated Parcells like shit and he wanted to control shit. And Parcells was like, nah, dog, don't go down like that. Yeah. And so, he brought in fucking Wade Phillips who was a puppet for a bit, and then when he got tired of being a puppet, get rid of him and you fucking promote this dickhead, which I've been saying for 10 years I hate him. I hate Jason Garrett. Always did. Didn't like him as an offensive coordinator. Don't like him as a coach. I mean, Chris Richard should be the guy, like you said, VP. You told us in the chat. In the offseason, he got called by the Jets. He got called by Miami. He got called by a bunch of teams to be, interviewed for a head coaching job. If your head coach is not getting the job done, and you have a guy that other teams think is ready, it's early enough in the season where you're at week 6 where you can make that change. Yeah. And one or two things is going to happen. Either he's going to get you where you want to go, and now you know who your guy is next year because it's the last year of Garrett's contract, or you're not going to get there, and then you just got to go out and find somebody next year. Yeah. But if you keep Garrett, you're on that path as it is to be a first-round bounce, maybe a second-round bounce if you can get past like a fucking Bucks team if they get in, or you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Whoever the 6th seed is.
Yeah, I say it all the time to echo VP's point. Looking at, if you want to stick in football, looking at Cleveland and Freddie Kitchens. You got Greg Williams, who comes in as the interim coach. They go on a run, and they fucking let this guy go.
Yeah.
And in baseball, I say it, with the Mets all the time. They had a World Series team. The smart thing to do is make sure everybody that was on that team comes back. You just lost to KC. Make sure everybody comes back. Maybe add some people. The Knicks. And I'm just shitting on my teams. The Knicks, tons of first round talent, free agents that get drafted there and they go elsewhere and they make great. And then we keep a guy like fucking D'Antoni, and when you look at sports, the main reason why the Yankees have always been successful when Steinbrenner returned in the 90s till now is that they make smart, logical decisions. They pay the money when it's supposed to be done. You got, I tell Orioles fans all the time here, you're never going to fucking win. Aside from your owner being racist, they never spend money on guys with last name Martinez or Johnson, meaning they don't spend money on the black guys or the talented guys that are good there. Adam Jones is unhappy. Manny Machado, you drafted him from your farm system and you let him walk for nothing. But you'll pay a guy like Chris Davis, who was on steroids and had 2 back-to-back seasons with like a 148 batting average. These people, and it's like I even see it in government, and then we see it in government and you see it in work policy. People at the top that are supposed to be so smart, they got their jobs off nepotism and their ethnicity, just do the dumbest shit, man, and it never ceases to amaze me. Never. It's disgusting.
Yeah. The Dolphins found a way to beat themselves.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck Flores was thinking going for 2. I'm like, let's kick this field goal and fucking try to go to overtime and get a win. That was crazy, man.
You know what? I got to thank him for that because I told you guys I'm in a pick'em pool, and it started out with 40 something teams or something like that. 41, I think it was, where everybody you could buy into 4, and I bought into 4, and I had 2 left this week. And there was only 7 teams total, so there's only 5 people I was up against other than my 2 teams. And I chose Kansas City and I chose Washington. Kansas City didn't fucking get it done. And so the Kansas City game ends, they lose, and I'm like, fuck, all right, at least Washington will hold on. Here comes fucking Fitzpatrick decided to fucking beat Fitzpatrick. And when he scored, I was in the kitchen. I forget what I was doing, but I mean, damn near threw a pot through the window. I was so mad. I was like, Washington's gonna fuck this shit up. Yeah. And then when they went for 2, I was like, oh fuck, great, I lost. You know what I'm saying? Because now at this point, right? Someone picked the Cowboys, so they're out. So now there's only 6 people left, and one of the 5 people's left, and one of the lineups are mine. So I'm only up against 4 other people. pull that off. That's about a stack. You know what I mean? And so, yeah,
I watched that I was watching that shit, and I'm like, why not go for? And then what's crazy is that I've been saying this the last couple of weeks when we talked football. Like, our people can't catch for some reason, and that play that they.
What?
What is wrong with your mic, dude?
Oh man, the snafus. Gotta love it being live. He's live out here. Yeah. Dolphins can't catch because they suck. Purely suck.
Yeah, they can't.
But yeah, man. But yo, so I don't know if we're gonna wait till he comes back in, but
he's back.
Oh, well. Yeah. Are you back now? You talking about Miami, motherfuckers ain't want to hear that shit.
I was just saying, last couple
on its own. Yeah, fuck this.
Like last couple of weeks when we talk football, the Dolphins suck. I'm don't want to try to whitewash that or anything, but
that's news.
They can't catch. They can't catch at all. And even though I don't think the 2-point conversion was a good idea, I think we should have went to overtime. But the play that they ran, if he makes that catch, he probably scores easily because it would have been one of those natural picks with the other receivers out there. And he fucking dropped it. And I'm like, I don't understand why these guys have no fucking hands this year. That shit is amazing to me.
Hands like tits is what they used to say back in the day.
Back in the day, I was like 27 talking about back in the day. There's no back in the day. If you don't fix your fucking
shut your head. If I was 27.
Don't even say what you're thinking to say.
Yeah.
But
hey, VP, did you start watching
pretty clean so far?
Did you start watching Godfather of Harlem?
Nah, I don't think I have that channel that it's on, the Epics or whatever it's called.
It was free.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You have a Fire Stick.
Allegedly.
Oh.
Feds watching. Feds watching. Throw money in the ground. The feds watching. Nah, yo. So, question. Well, this really doesn't apply to either of you two, though. But I think Steve sometimes, now that he's a parent, gives better parental. Nah. Let's just ask you this. Because I was talking to a lady friend of mine, homegirl of mine, rather. And I don't know, she was babbling about some bullshit. But, she was asking me about my, new lady friend or whatever. And she was just like, when are you going to introduce it to your kids? I was like, yo, calm down, relax, calm down. And I was just like, because that's a big thing, introducing the kids, especially they all remember people now. It's not like when they were babies, and I might have had them around somebody, who knows. But thing is, is like, she was like, well, if you do, I think you should take them. I think you and your current lady should meet, their mom first. I was like, nigga, why? Like, why? So I personally did not or do not believe that even in either way, like if the kid's mom meets somebody, I don't think I need to meet the dude. And I don't think I need her to meet my lady unless, I would do some crackhead shit and get married again. But what do you guys think? I mean, Steve, you're new dad, so you're pretty much a helicopter dad right about now. And VP, you've got a son bigger than you who beats on you. Like, what do you guys think?
So for me, what I would say is I agree with you from the standpoint of I don't think it's necessary for the ex or the kid's mom to meet the new woman in your life. Like she has to give some kind of sign off or approval for introducing them to the kids. But what I would say is that I think it may be prudent to let her know, like, hey, I'm seeing somebody and I'm thinking about introducing her to the kids. And I want you to know that in case, like, when she has the kids, you know, you don't want it to be any kind of animosity thing, like, oh, so and so, you know, gave me some ice cream, and then she's like, why the fuck that bitch giving ice cream? You know, that, you know how shit can be. You know what I'm saying?
Has happened before.
So it might be. I'm just saying, like, not in a I need your permission kind of way, but kind of a heads up kind of way. If you hear the kids talking about this name, it's because I introduced them to my girl. You know, we're pretty serious now, and I'm introducing the kids. So I just wanted to let you know that's who that is. You know, but not necessarily like, hey, here's so and so, and then, you know, she has this meeting, checking her resume, and then decides whether or not, yeah, you can introduce them. It's cool to move forward. Not none of that kind of shit.
Valid points. That's why I'm never going to listen to that. But go ahead.
So, okay. VP's gonna be mad at me for this one. I think it's more important the other way around. What I mean is, a woman, single mom, gets into a relationship with a man and is going to bring him around the kids. I think it's extremely important to have that. Not saying that the guys have to meet, but I think that conversation must be had of, hey, Tyrone is coming through. He's gonna bust these guts out, and
he's got a big old Johnson.
God damn it, EJ. And I'm cooking breakfast in the morning, and you know, when the kids get home, he might still be here, or whatever, right? And you know, how do you feel about that? And then I think, you know, as a man, obviously you're gonna want be like, listen, I need to talk to Tyrone, right? And I think that's partially because we are prideful, extremely prideful as men. On the flip side of it, when it comes to women, I do think you should have the exact, or men, you know, a man talking to the baby's mother, I think you should have the same respect to say, hey, you know, I'm in something with somebody. Just want you to know that they might be around. You might hear, you know, she cooked for them or she did their laundry or whatever the fuck it is, right? But I think that, again, more so because we're prideful, and as women, you generally have the expectation. They're more of a caring being than men. In most cases, their gender is more of a caring gender. The Just the parental what's the word I'm looking for, instinct is there in women, right? It's rare that you hear, and we know it happens, but if you do percentages and you look at numbers, how many women leave their fucking kids? How many women dip out on their kids with
a lot,
percentages?
a lot.
No.
I mean, we don't. We could debate that, but it's not important. But I feel you. Keep going.
Compared to men, right? You know, compared to men being like, you know what, I just, you know, I don't want no more parts of this. Or, what, you pregnant? Oh, well, that's nice. Whose is it? You know what I mean? Like, that's us, right? But to answer the actual question, first of all, whoever this side person is that said that shit, you need to mind your business, because you
it's not a side person.
no, your friend.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
They need to mind their business, because y'all just, like, you just started posting, you know, your shit on Facebook and kind of putting your relationship out there, doing the Lady and the Tramp spaghetti sucking together picture that you posted and all of that. ordering a large milkshake with 2 straws and shit. Like,
Nigga, you know I'm lactose.
This nigga's foul.
You know I'm lactose.
Shit. So I think it's still early for somebody to, first of all, expect to introduce your kids to her, unless it just happens to be a one-off where they're there. It's you having them at the house, and she stops by. Like, hey, EJ, I'm coming by. First of all, I'm sure she's gonna give you the heads up, and then it's up to you. All right, come by, and if the first time it happens, right? Then maybe it's just sometimes it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. Hey, real quick, just want you to know, girls were here. Lisa came by, and they met her. And I want you to know what's going on in case you're here.
So I don't.
Let me get into this one. But I agree with both points, and I understand Steve's point in the reverse, because just gender wise, and I thought about this before. Most situations, guys are more of a threat than women are, towards your kids if anything foul was happen. But also at the end of the day, man, our pride shouldn't impose on the woman's life either. And I came to the conclusion where I really don't give a shit. Because the guy that I would meet would not be the motherfucker that they really are. And I mean, at the end of the day, my kids thankfully are old enough that if some shit happens, I'm gonna kill you. Like, just gonna kill you. Like, this is what's gonna happen. So,
sounds about
yeah, and I'm like with Steve. I'd rather, do what I do and ask for forgiveness later, because honestly, at the end of the day, even in the past, the past, situations, I've only introduced them as friends. So it could be anybody, you know what I mean? And it could legit be friends. And there was always that underline, oh, friends, so it's like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Like, fuck you. I don't care. Like,
true.
But yeah, and my thing is you just don't, you just introduce it as friends, and you keep it pushing unless it really, really gets to that point where it's like, all right, y'all, you know what I mean? This is what it is, yeah, you start dropping kisses in front of them, so I don't know, man. I think gender plays a factor, age of the kids, and like Steve said, the length of the relationship. I think it definitely plays a factor.
Definitely, no doubt. I actually don't disagree with a lot of what Steve said. Especially because you have daughters, right? And so, it's one thing introducing daughters to your new girl versus introducing daughters to her new guy, because there's all type of situations you have to worry about, from the standpoint of contact.
Get milk with your dick out?
No, I mean, like in a
Let me go
standpoint.
get you a bottle of water now that we done. Oh shit, your kids are out here.
No, I mean, like, cookies. It's not just that. You got to worry about walking in the bathroom or in the room, inappropriate touching, all that kind of foul shit. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I agree with you mostly on that gender thing. More than likely, there's not going to be an issue with the chick and daughters. So, I agree with you there for the most part, but it seems like it's way too early for that anyway. So like Steve said, the chick from work or wherever, needs to kind of keep it moving on that shit,
Yeah. But like I said, man, it's like, I've introduced the girls to a number of friends, and I'm like, we all grew up in that era where your mom or, your people's, introduce you, or not maybe your moms, or, it's just like, as kids, you just know, you might know something's going on, but you just stay in your place. And it's like,
yeah,
it ain't nothing to it. Like, it is what it is, but I think because she was coming from a single mom's perspective, I think some of that shit too. I think because she was talking about her her baby dad's situation. You know, he's got a girl and all of that. He moved on a long time ago. I think to some degree, a part of her, you know, feels like she has to tell him. It's some means to kind of show she can get off and that, you know, she's important. Because I mean, I really don't see dude caring, you know. And you know, like I thought about it. I'm just like, at the end of the day, you know, it'll be scary. And even still, it's like it's an introduction. Now, if you're telling me, you know, the kids will be there living with the person, you know, full time, you know, then sure, I could know. That's cool. The guy's never gonna present who he really might be. Hopefully he's a good guy. If he's a good guy, then cool, you know what I mean? But if he's a scumbag, you know, God willing, you're not gonna know until you know, and I'm gonna kill him, or worse, you know, or less, you know. But yeah, man, it's just like, you know, I don't really see, you know, the need to do that. Especially, it's like if the lady's not moving in here, they ain't seeing us kissing. You know what I'm saying? It's just Miss who so and so, and y'all keeping it moving. You know, I got plenty of female friends that they've met plenty of places where they don't really know the difference until, you know, some of them, one of them will know, like the middle one will definitely know, and fish it out. Like she's always the first to do it. But you know, just friends kind of thing. You know, like whatever
Yeah.
happened to the days where y'all got friends and kids stay in any place, like, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a new day, man. We are so much younger now. Like, you know, when we were, well, not we are younger, but you know, grandparents and parents and relationships are people are having kids much younger, and so you know, when we were kids, you know, think about just teachers and your parents' friends and shit like that. It was like Mr. Wallace from down the street. Like, you know, that's where the respect came in because they were older, you know, they were,
Yeah.
you know, and your parents were older. Now, people are having these kids at 17, 18, 19 years old, married at 21, 22, and divorced at 25, 26, back out there in the club. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like, you know, back in the day where you might meet so and so from work or through a friend, a family friend, or something like that, because you got Tinder, you got fucking plenty of fish, you got the internet, you got so many outlets that people use for dating, as opposed to getting to know somebody or kind of giving somebody that you know that opportunity to take you out and or whatever, or for you to take them out and you start a relationship so you know that, you know, they're stable enough to not do something, you know, funky to your kids.
Yeah. On a side note, too, on that little situation Steve set up with having kids young and all that stuff like that, it reminded me of this shit I saw on like Facebook or Instagram like a few months back, and it was talking about why like chicks don't know good food and know how to cook, and it was like, you don't know how to cook or you don't know what good food tastes like because your grandma's 37.
Oh shit.
It's a fact, man. That shit's it's factual as fuck. I got people like at work that are my, you know, that are I'm 37, and they be like, "Oh, my granddaughter." Wait, what? Your what? Your granddaughter? I just had a son.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met this at the bar on Sunday. This waitress, she's 41. She was like, her kid is 24. Nah, I wasn't talking to her. Um, she's 41. Her kid is 24. And then she was like, yeah, my grandson. And we was like, nigga. And then she was like, she was pregnant. We was like, nigga. Like, yo.
You
And
should
she was
not be a
like,
pregnant grandmother.
yo, she was like, you know, and I mean, you know, we know this is reality. People have this, you know, so we're not shitting on you, but you know, y'all had these conversations when this shit popped up. For anybody listening that this may apply to, I'm sorry, you
Yeah.
motherfuckers had this conversation too. And she was just like, yeah, no, we wasn't expecting it. You know, his kids are old. I'm like,
Do
nigga.
they still? Do they still have what was that shit where the girls could go get like birth
Plan B.
control? Nah, this nigga. You know what? I'm not doing it. Planned Parenthood.
Yeah.
Like, do they still have that where like the girls could go get condoms or birth control or like I don't know if they still have that, but
for the most part. But I mean, under the current regime, Title 10 has really been under attack, and is places like Planned Parent, like family planning organizations, have been struggling for dollars. EJ probably can speak to that a lot more than I can, since he's kind of adjacent to that field and in the work that he does. But you have a lot of people, like here in Florida, we have a Republican governor, a Republican legislature, you got a Republican president, and they've been working overtime to pull funds away from organizations like a Planned Parenthood because they do perform abortions there. It's a very small part of their business. I think it's something like 3% of their business is abortion, but because they do abortion, they don't like it, and they've cut their funding a lot.
I remember even before this administration, I remember years ago, when I was with the kid's mom, and at the time, her parents and their family church and their family were Black Republicans. And there was this white family that they were close to. I forget their nationality, but white family, kind of, I guess the dad probably is like a thousandaire of some kind or whatever. Bunch of kids, Christian, whatever. And they came in the church and it was this big thing. And, they came in, they were like, yeah, we're going to DC. This gotta be 2009, maybe 2010. I don't know. Yeah, we're going to DC to protest Planned Parenthood and abortions and blah, blah, blah. And I remember just sitting there like shaking my head. And one of her uncles, who was a brother who was a correctional officer of some kind for years, was just like, y'all gotta be fucking kidding me. He was like, Planned Parenthood is just not abortions, it's sex education. And it's like, y'all motherfuckers in the Republican Party want to take away the sex education, but then people have babies, then you want to, then they can't afford them, but then y'all want to take away the welfare. And then it's like, none of this shit ever makes sense. And it's like, it's just, it just goes to show you how religion, politics, and status can just blind people like them from really understanding what it is that's going on. And I tell you, man, like I never liked that family from the very beginning. And there was one point in time where we were friends on Facebook with her maid of honor, and I had posted something about, I might have posted something about the Redskins name being racist. This was years ago. And the maid of honor, who's from this family, comes on and says, well, I think the Ravens football team name is racist because the Raven is black, or because not all the players are black like the Raven or something like that. Some wild shit. And I was
makes
just
sense.
like, how ignorant can you be when you don't even realize that the Ravens were named the Ravens because Edgar Allan Poe was from Baltimore, you dumb bitch. And it was just that ignorance. And I was just like, these are the people that y'all aligned with as these quote unquote Black Republicans who was going behind this Christian faith. And you guys are from the hood in DC and have had struggles and trials and tribulations. And yeah, you made it out, but you're supporting these people who are then going against Planned Parenthood, where sure, you can attack Planned Parenthood all you want, but these are the same people that advocate for sex education be removed from the schools. And then these same people that when we have teen pregnancy, pull the funding. It's just asinine, man. It's just, and these are the same people whose kids wind up on Teen Mom on MTV and all types of other dumb shit. You know, it's just, it's sad, man. It truly is.
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like you have to meet people where they are, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And in this day and age, and not even this day and age, I mean, it's been like this for a while, but young people have sex, right? And while while we try to teach our kids, we were taught abstinence and all that stuff like that. Yeah, abstinence is the best way, but teenagers are gonna do shit. Not all of them, but they are. And when they do shit, they need to be prepared, you know? And you have kids out there who, you know, don't know how to put on a condom, you know? And it's not like these young teenagers are gonna say, well, I don't know how to put on a condom, so fuck it. I guess I'm just not gonna have sex. You know, they're gonna be like, all right, you know, I gotta make sure,
I think.
yeah, I gotta make sure my pullout game is strong, you know. And you know, pulling out is not birth control, you know. And again, while nobody is, you know, advocating for teenagers to be having sex and potentially, you know, having babies, you know, but at the same time, if kids are going to be sexually active, they need to be sexually educated, you know. And I bet a vast majority of, or maybe not a vast majority, but I bet a lot of teen pregnancy probably is the result of not being properly educated in how to protect yourself.
Yeah, without a doubt. Those conversations, you just don't have them. I mean, not only that, but a lot of schools, I just found this out, they don't have health class no more.
No.
Like, if you don't have home ec, none of that. Basic life skills, basic things that we grew up knowing. You know, yeah, I remember when motherfuckers had the babies in the classroom, you know, the fake baby dolls.
Yeah.
You know, and they eliminated that shit. You know, home ed, you know, where kids don't even know how to iron, turn a fucking stove on, you know.
Yeah.
You know,
and a lot of these places, they not only not have classes like sex ed, they're not allowed to even talk about it, like by law, you know. And if you ever watched John Oliver's show on HBO last week tonight, he does like this long editorial where he talks about a certain topic, you know. And he did one on sex education one time, and he was showing videos of some teachers who try to figure out these creative ways to talk to kids about sex without using the terms, because they understand that these kids need to know this shit. And they had like this one black teacher in Mississippi who was like, you know, let's say I was going to put on my shoe and I didn't want to, you know, catch a foot fungus. And this is how this is how I would put my sock on. And then he's showing them like putting the sock on his foot like it's a condom, you know. And then he was like, and this is how you properly insert your foot into the shoe. You know what I mean? And you know, it's funny watching, but teachers shouldn't have to go to those kind of links to prepare children for, you know, these type of scenarios. And then the same people who don't want this kind of stuff taught in the schools aren't teaching the shit to their children. You know, and then these kids are going out there just unprepared. And then next thing you know, Susie done popped up pregnant, you know. And then on top of that, you don't believe in, you know, abortion. So now you're going to make your kid have a kid. Then they probably drop out of school and their life is fucked up. And if the parent's life is fucked up, 9 times out of 10, the child's life is going to be fucked up. And it just creates this fucking cycle of rinse, wash, repeat. And you keep having the same shit over and over and over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Susie ends up pregnant by Darnell. How dare you?
You're a scumbag, Steve. I just saw my PayPal balance.
There was a reason behind
Scumbag, yo. Scumbag. He sent me 2 cents. I'm looking at here like, was my PayPal balance negative? Like,
oh shit.
Scumbag, yo.
I did that for a reason. I wanted to make sure that was your PayPal.
Oh yeah, okay. He did that for a reason none other than your scumbag.
I'll give
Wow.
you once. I'll give you 3 cents tomorrow.
1998. Scumbag. Sheesh.
Yeah. Yeah. What else? Anything else that you guys? What else did we talk about? We didn't talk about much of anything, right? Anything else to add? A little sports action. EJ's crazy love affair. You know, you're glowing, this guy.
Well, let me ask you this while we still here. Kind of broach 2 topics that we converse a lot about. What are your thoughts on this fucking NBA shit in China? And just to give some background real quick to the audience, I'm sorry. There have been a lot of pro-democracy protests in Hong Kong, which is sometimes a part of China, sometimes not, depending on what's happening in geopolitics. Mm-hmm. And a lot of young people in China are protesting for, democracy, and the Chinese government is trying to cut down on that. At the same time, the NBA is looking to broaden the game of basketball in China, since it's since it has the largest population of any country in the world. They do a lot of outreach to China, and normally during the preseason, they play preseason games in China. And with all of the protests going on in Hong Kong, some of the players have been asked about it. But what really sparked this was that the general manager from the Houston Rockets said on Twitter, something to the effect of he supported, the pro-democracy folks protesting over there. And then it started this whole uproar of some NBA teams trying to silence players and executives about talking about this stuff. And so that's kind of the background for the audience. But where are you guys at on that?
I mean, the NBA, it's really the NBA's job to kind of show and prove, and if they are who people have been so fooled to believe in, that the NBA is such a liberating factor, this is a no-brainer, right? What's going on in China should not reflect your brand, the brand of the NBA that you market, that it's such a liberal place to be, and you could wear I can't breathe shirts, and all of this other stuff. So I think that the NBA has a duty to make a decision on it, to say, I don't think we should partner with you guys right now. If you guys are trying to silence democracy, what point do we serve? What point do we serve by playing basketball in China? I don't see it. I don't see it.
So I definitely get what you're saying. The where I would push back a little bit is that throughout history, one of the things that have always helped to bring people together is sports, and you can look at some of the major accomplishments that sports have had on the world stage, going back to Jesse Owens in the Olympics in the 30s that were held in Nazi Germany, and the whole, they're supposed to be the master race, and Jesse Owens goes over there and smoke these motherfuckers, So I think sports can be a way to bridge different societies and different communities and things like that. But at the same time, the NBA is an American organization, and in this country, we believe in things like democracy and freedom of speech, et cetera, et cetera. And so I think that the NBA should definitely, I don't think that they should not do business in China, but I think they should lead with their values and say, even though we're bringing the game of basketball to your country, we definitely support what these people are doing and having their rights, their democracy, their freedom of speech, etc. The one thing that I have a problem with is that, and I saw somebody on Twitter post this where they said a player like LeBron, when he talks about issues, or not just LeBron, but players in general, when they talk about issues going on in the African American community, i.e., their community, even though these guys are rich and they don't live the same lives like us or have the same struggles because of their affluence, etc., but they're still black nonetheless. They still get pulled over by the cops and shit like that. LeBron had somebody write nigger on his front gate, a couple years ago, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. When they bring those issues to the forefront, people tell them, you're an athlete. You need to shut up and just play basketball, play football, and stay out of politics. You're here to entertain us, essentially, right? And then when this shit's happening in China, they're like, why isn't LeBron speaking out? So when it comes to talking about issues happening in our own country regarding race, you tell him he needs to shut up and dribble. But when you're talking about international politics, you're like, how come he doesn't have an opinion on this? And I think that's bullshit.
Yeah, well, we know what that is. LeBron is always, while he, might not be whoever people want to measure him up to be as past activist and athlete, he is what we have of this time, and he has a strong voice, and I like what he normally says in certain situations. But to push back on you about the athletics bring nations together, let's be frank.
And EJ, can I say one thing real quick? I didn't mean to just put it on LeBron. I just used him as an example, but I meant athletes.
He's been getting a lot of the criticism though. But Jesse Owens, victory in Germany didn't do shit. Hitler was still Hitler. And furthermore, when Jesse Owens came back, to get his gold medal at the White House, he had to go through the service entrance. Still didn't do dick in this country. But I don't disagree with you totally. And obviously I agree with you to the point where American organization and democracy. And again, the NBA, I think, and I've always said this, the NBA and NFL are the same fucking people. They're the same thing. But the NBA loves to front as though they're such this champion of freedom and free speech and love and equality for all. Well, I mean, like you said, as you pointed out, if they're having a political crisis over there, you at least need to meet with people from China to kind of say, hey, what the fuck is going on? We're American. We have democracy here. I don't think this would be diplomatically in our favor, especially with everything that's going on. So I agree with that part.
So I don't know much about it. As long as the lo mein keeps coming. I'm good.
Oh my God. And I mean, they already have it's not like we have to be there either. They already have the game of basketball there. We've already had relations with them in the past, due to Yao Ming, I guess, to some degree, and other guys. But it's China's a communist nation, and they have their agendas, and they're over there training super athletes to beat us in Olympic play. And anytime they do send a guy over here to play in the NBA, I think by law that in China they have a large responsibility to contribute to their government. And it's a slippery slope. I think they just need to get out ahead of it and kind of make a stance. But the NBA is going to find a way to save their ass and do whatever's profitable for them. But yeah, man, I agree with you about the logic about LeBron or any player that chooses to stay out of this whole international thing. Yeah.
Well, they got to secure the bag, right? LeBron's got to make sure that he keeps his worldwide endorsements, continues to sell jerseys and shit like that. So, while you
They
want
burned
to,
his jersey in China.
that's what I mean. While you want to speak up, you got to be careful of that. You got to, try and prevent that from happening. There's kids that look up to these individuals. You know, sometimes, I mean, while it's good to get them to comment on stuff, sometimes, it's better um, not to have it. But whatever, it really doesn't matter to me either way. I think I mean, I support them having a voice. I think the biggest issue with it is they try to use the platform, but then they don't do much about it. We talk about it all the time. How whatever the flavor of the day is, it's that's what's going on. The whole I can't breathe or Sandra Bland or whatever the case is, whatever's popping at that time, you'll have these certain individuals who want to spotlight themselves before a game. But really, what are you doing aside from wearing a t-shirt? You know what I mean? What are you doing to, and it's not, it's not their responsibility, but if you're going to put yourself out there, what are you doing to aid the family? What are you doing to, if nothing else, you know, send some charity money to assist with, funeral arrangements or ceremonies and stuff like that. You got these people that are out there selling fucking food plates and shit to try and pay for arrangements for their family members. Meanwhile, these super superhuman athletes and superstars are making a way and continuing their reign, for lack of a better word, and building their name and selling records or filling seats or whatever. They're making their pockets fatter off of this person's name, and where's the residuals to this person's family? That's just my part of it. That's how I look at it.
That goes back to the larger conversation, that we talked about in the past, about rappers and people moguls and Jay-Z's and Diddy's. Is it their responsibility to do these things for everybody?
No,
Just
and I
because
don't think
they're
it. Like I said, it's definitely not a responsibility. But if you're gonna put your yourself out there and try to capitalize, I guess, on like when they started wearing the I Can't Breathe shirts, what they do for Garner, right? What did you do for his
true.
family? It took his sisters to stand out there and you know protest and show up at the presidential debate and all this other shit for something to happen. You know what I mean? So again, is it their responsibility? No, but don't be 1 foot in and 1 foot out is my whole thing. Like if you're gonna be in, be all the way in and give me everything that you got. But don't use my name and my situation and then that's it. It's just for your greater good and there's no residuals to me or my family.
I agree.
Yeah, I can get with that.
I agree for sure.
So
For sure.
um anything else going on? I'm trying to think if I saw any headlines. I was looking at some stuff today, but I didn't really see much of I mean, obviously, basketball season's coming.
1 week.
Yeah.
I think that's.
Well, you're a Knicks fan.
Yeah.
Nah, I mean, I hate that they play so many games. Just hate that shit. Like, it's still football season. Chill out. Like, god damn. Hate that
And
shit,
baseball
man.
season.
Yeah.
And baseball season. Fuck, man. The Yankees, man.
Yeah, go Yankees.
Fuck, man.
They need to get it together.
Shit, man. Golly.
And the rain now doesn't help. That just lets them rest these fucking Verlander and Cole a little bit. I don't want to talk about it. It's getting me.
And the fucking Nationals are in the World Series.
It's the first time for them, right?
Yeah, I gotta go to fucking DC and watch all of these fucking Nationals fans. And I mean, National fans are the worst. These people, they love the Nationals.
Eagles
All of
fans
these
are the
white
worst.
folks. Nah, these people are bad. Because at least most Eagles fans are from Philly. Most of these Nationals fans are people, from the surrounding counties of Maryland that ain't had no team. You ain't had no team for years. For years. And the team pops up in DC. Oh, we're the Nationals fan. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. Like, that shit is disgusting, man. Like,
that's the video we're gonna make go viral.
that shit is just nasty, man. Like, fuck it, man. It pisses me off.
So you probably had to leave for work a little bit early now, huh? All that traffic and shit.
I take the subway, and fortunately for me, I take the subway and then I take like a I don't know what you call it, like a light rail kind of thing, but it's like a big train from Baltimore to DC. But fortunately for me, where I work now is away from the stadium. It's near actually the old stadium which the Redskins used to play in DC, which is called RFK Stadium, which is just pretty much sitting there like an eyesore. But yeah, so I don't have to deal with that. But when I was at my old job, just weeks ago, the stadium, I could literally leave my office and be at the stadium in 2 minutes. So, getting on the train with all of that was like a zoo. But yeah, man, it's nasty. It's just nasty. It's nasty stuff. I hate it. I would love to see the Yankees get to the World Series, and I go down there, but and we'd really see how these national fans would really be, because I tell you, Yankees fans flood Orioles games. Like, Yankees fans, Red Sox fans, like, completely wipe out Orioles fans in any sense of the way. And I can guarantee you they would be flooding down to DC if we was in the World Series.
Yeah, I remember them flooding us in Miami when we beat the Yankees in 2006 for the second undefeated playoff run for the Marlins.
Oh my god.
And with that, all the things you could have done to listen to the podcast.
Yeah, right.
This motherfucker, yo.
But for real though, like, that for us, what fucked that up for us is that a lot of the snowbirds are in Florida that time of year, and of course they're Yankees fans, So, and the Marlins don't really got a lot of fans, so that World Series, that shit was loaded with Yankees fans in there. So it was crazy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yankees travel well.
Mm-hmm.
They're one of the teams that,
Yeah, Yankees, Steelers.
Yeah. They're historic teams,
Yeah.
I keep trying to get Steve to come to Baltimore for the fucking games, but all that shit he was talking didn't come.
Yep.
You in love.
This guy now going on, I don't know how many years, dude has never come to see me with talking all that shit though.
Maybe if you get married again, you'll invite me to this one.
First of all, you couldn't.
Huh?
First of all,
what'd you say?
Huh? I was never married. Doesn't matter.
Is she listening?
Let's hope so. Need all the fans we can get.
Yeah, for real.
Oh
This
man.
His next lick. Okay, so VP. I think we covered a good deal. We will be continuing our new content schedule. Before you take us out, VP, our new content schedule is we'll be putting out on Thursday mornings, and on Sunday mornings for football season. You can catch us live streaming on Facebook, and we'll be talking about what's gonna happen, what we think is gonna happen for the day, from fantasy to reality to our picks, and we will be doing some interaction during those shows. So rock with us. But for now, we will let the honorable Reverend VP of research. Well, no, that would be you would be more like what are they called?
Deacon.
Rabbi VP.
Oh my goodness. Hey, everybody, we appreciate you making a choice to listen to us. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow us on our social media platforms. You can find us at Castworthy everywhere, on Instagram at Castworthy_podcast. Like I said, definitely leave us a comment, engage with us. Let us know what you want to hear. Let us know what you like. Let us know what you don't like. We definitely making this content for you guys. We appreciate you listening to it. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Peace.